Welcome to On Hue, a podcast where we dive deep into the world of Bipoc beauty. I'm Renee.
And I'm Jess, and we're so excited to have you on this journey with us. Welcome to episode 3. Today, we are discussing a very important topic that Renee and I have queued up. You guys already know during our steps, during our kids' basketball games, during all of that. But, you know, this week was truly, what's the word, Renee?
Memorable?
I love that.
Memorable.
It was truly memorable. It's definitely a week for the On Hue diary where we look back and be like, do you remember when we got locked out of our email?
You guys. Okay, so this is the story. We got an email from one of our favorite BIPOC beauty brands.
Bossy Beauty.
And it was back to our personal emails. And so this was Monday. And then it was like, oh, hey guys, just returning your email, but it looks like your On Hue email is
not working.
It bounced back. It's not working. And so Jess and I were like, wait, what? Like literally so confused. But also though, I was like, we have no emails coming in during the weekend, but then it was Veterans Day weekend.
Right. But still, I feel like our emails are pretty active.
Yeah,
we always have like
active.
something going on.
Yeah. And so then when we came into work on Monday, we were talking about it. We
tried to log on
into our Drive or Sheets or whatever, just into our Google. And it said our account was gone.
Yeah.
And so we called Google.
Zero help. I'm so sorry, Google, to have to do you dirty like this. Yeah, but it was so bad.
The amount of times that the person that was quote unquote help us said, I know your frustration. Like that was making me so frustrated when she said that. It was like we had like a 15-minute conversation and she literally said it probably like 40 times.
Yeah. And I was just like, okay, this isn't going to go anywhere.
With no help.
So long story short, we still have not retrieved our email, but we did set up our professional email.
Yes. Our other one was professional,
it was
but now
cute, but now it's not like whatever.
Hello at onhue.podcast.com.
You know, so real profesh.
So we're good.
And we also set up our LLC.
I guess we're legit.
So exciting.
Yeah, that was
and
exciting.
Also like
also
very stressful because
it's
like why does the state
so
make everything like just
it should just be like this is the steps that you do and every step should have a link to it,
just tell the girlies like 1 2 3 click on this link,
this is how much it's going to be.
It was a lot, but is so true. This was very memorable. This week was very memorable.
And then another great memory is that we at On Hue got an intern.
This is like
shout out to Jurley.
Like, happy dance.
Jurley Jean.
Yes. Cool. No, amazing. Seriously, when she came in, because that day was by far one of our most stressful days, I think, in our partnership, where we were just like, what's going on? But then she came in and it felt almost like it was such a breath of fresh air where we were like, oh my gosh, we're stressed because having a podcast is so much work. Like it's so much work. Like Renee said in episode 2, which by the way, if you haven't listened, go check it out. Episode 2 is so great. Talks about BIPOC beauty and politics. But like Renee said in episode 2 is like, this is the easy part. Like literally today when we sat down and we were just chatting, I was like, this is why we're doing what we're doing. And like the conversations that we have are always so fulfilling and so like powerful, you know,
and we learn so much, you know, just from one another. We always just have the same feelings about whatever we're talking about. So like we're very like-minded. So that makes it really easy. But as far as like all the other stuff,
the back end stuff,
the
girlies be stressed.
We be stressing. But having an intern, you know, when she just came in writing down, oh, I'll do this and this. We were like, what? Wow.
Yeah, no, okay. So good. So that's definitely such a highlight and such a milestone for us. And oh my gosh, like this did it. No, this is so great. Like definitely, I think one of the things that often happens in BIPOC communities is we don't give ourselves our flowers. And like, am I gonna cry? Like, you guys, I'm a crier. I'm sorry, but like, I do feel very emotional, and it's like, maybe that's one of the things that we were missing a little bit is like, we're progressing so fast, and so many beautiful things are happening so fast that we forget to give ourselves our flowers of all the things that we are achieving. So imaginary flowers. No, it's so good. And with that, I think that these conversations are so powerful. And today's conversation is one that I'm super excited about. And I know you're super excited about it too, because we want to remind you guys how powerful you guys are. I don't know if you have heard this within the last month, within the last week, within the last year, whatever it has been, but we're here to remind you of the power that you have when it comes to you as an individual and when it comes to your spending power. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I don't think we as a BIPOC community realize how much power we have. But the fun thing about this conversation we're going to have is hopefully by the end of this conversation, our community will know. Yeah. And actually, when you and I were even just going over this conversation, what we were going to say, we were also realizing even more so.
No,
even more so.
When we got to the numbers, which let's get into that. When we got to the numbers in the BIPOC beauty industry specifically. Yeah. And the
so let's say it, break it down, and
specifically in the BIPOC beauty community. Are you guys ready? Like,
I don't think they're ready.
I mean, I'm not even ready because like this is insane. Yeah. In the BIPOC beauty industry, we contribute, drum roll, $4 trillion with a T, dollars.
Jess didn't say million. She didn't say billion.
Baby, trillion.
Trillion. There's not even a trillionaire in the world
and
right
we
now.
Like we are the trillionaires.
We are the trillionaires.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The Black community spends 1.3 trillion. The Latinx community 1.5 trillion. The Asian community 1 trillion. And so on and so forth. So on and so forth. That's 1, 2, 3 over almost $4
trillion. Yeah. That we circulate into the economy through our purchasing power. Now, what does this mean and why is this important? I think for me, when we were kind of discussing this is, first of all, that number is like, I can't even imagine it in my head. I don't know how many zeros that is, but we will put a picture up so you guys can see from the hundreds to the trillions what that looks like. And then also, it just shows how committed our people are to circulating the dollar. Now, in my mind, is like, we still have to have so much education on how to circulate the dollar within our communities, which is why we're having this conversation. Yeah. But also, it made me think about how, like, we're hustlers, dude. Like, I don't know about you, but my mom, when we immigrated to the United States, she had like 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs. But as a little kid, I truly never felt that I went without, but I did see all like the sacrifices she had to make me not feel like that. Yeah. In episode totally 1, we talked about, you know, how she would go to Limited 2 and come back with all these like big shopping bags, right? Girl, I'm literally like, this is crazy. Just having this conversation is like, she was contributing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into the economy, supporting these brands.
Yeah, same. My mom, 4 kids. My dad worked full time. My mom, when we were little, was at home with us, but then once we got into, I think...
Which that is so beautiful.
Yeah. Once we got into later elementary, then she went back to work. But still, like, heads were struggling, you know? But we, you know, were always taken care of. My 3 sisters and my brother, we were always taken care of. You know, now, while we may not have any food in the fridge... We were dressed to the nines. We were dressed to the nines. But my parents worked hard. But yeah, the money that they were spending, so much money. First of all, having 4 kids, that's so much money. Mm-hmm. But where were those dollars going?
Not to BIPOC owned brands.
No. But then also, if you think, where were even the BIPOC brands like back
they
in the
didn't
days?
Really exist.
Yeah.
Like there was like very few mm-hmm. BIPOC brands that existed in fashion, let alone in beauty.
Yeah.
Like
we had, for clothing, we had
like Sean
Cross
John.
Colors, Sean John.
Cross Colors is so cool.
Yeah, so
Baby
cool.
Fat.
Baby Fat. Yeah, we had we had clothing. I guess Fashion Fair was the makeup brand, but it was actually really small.
Yeah.
But I do remember like family members having that, but it was like, that's a luxury item to get, you know?
Right.
You went to the department store to get that. But yeah, that was the only cosmetics. I remember when Queen Latifah became like the spokesperson for CoverGirl. So then that was like, oh, that's cool. We'll support that.
Which, by the way, Queen Latifah's hair is always a goals. Like, I don't know, like...
The Louise household, we love Queen Latifah.
What's going on? Like, her hairstylist.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Her hair always looks...
She never ages.
Makeup,
amazing.
Clothing,
so
amazing.
And then also just her music and her acting.
Yeah. So one of the thoughts is also like, how are we being represented within this Eurocentric beauty market? What was that like for you growing up as a kid? Because I have so many stories.
Yeah, so many stories. I mean, you know, for myself and my sisters, as far as finding beauty products for us, there were 0 BIPOC brands, 0. I only remember, and now this is for the older people in my family that had money, were getting Fashion Fair because they were going to the department stores. But like my sisters and I were going to Woolworths, not even Walgreens, like to get just random, or Kmart, you know, to get corn silk or Max Factor. Yes, there was no Sephora. Ulta. I remember when Ulta started. It was before Sephora. But Ulta wasn't how it is now, you know, like at all.
I mean, right now we only have, 15% of the shelf space? So back then we had
0. There was 0. I mean, it was like still like a drugstore. There were no like big brands in there. But then when I started Color May Vary, and now I'm saying this even up until I started Color May Vary, while I was using like a couple of Black-owned products for my hair, Carol's Daughter, that was actually really the only, and Kinky Curly, you know. But when I did Color May Vary, now I was actually had access to all these other brands that I didn't know about. So like Mielle, Mielle, that's literally my favorite hair brand. I mean, I use it. Yeah, I love it. It's perfect. Like I'm actually allergic to avocado, but her product, it's the avocado styling cream.
And you can use it?
I can use it in my hair. It's totally fine. Another makeup artist, her name is Camille Ariane, Brows. She's an amazing makeup artist, first of all, but then she made these brow pencils, which are perfect for people of color, like the blonde brown. So you would think it's blonde. No, it's the perfect brown. It's like a ashy brown. I love it.
I know exactly what color you're thinking about.
Yeah, she has like I think 5 or 6 other colors. And then Juvia's Place.
I love their stuff.
My goodness.
The coverage?
The coverage and the color payoff of the eyeshadows.
My mother-in-law uses them.
Yeah, like
she looks flawless.
Beautiful. Back when I was a kid, I mean, there was nothing like that. But now, you know, there's just so many brands out there that I can find for myself and also support. What about you?
Oh my gosh, I'm like the trauma dumping right here. But for me, I honestly never saw Latinas in like mainstream advertisement. The closest and most relatable person that I can think about was Tyra Banks.
Oh.
Which is a Black woman.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I was trying to think.
And I was telling my husband, and I know this is going to sound controversial and crazy, but I found more relatability with the Black community than any other community growing up. I grew up in Kentucky, and my school was just Black and brown. It was Black and brown, right?
Yeah.
So for me, the relatability really came from Black pop culture. Like that's everything that I saw from, you know, like the CD covers to Queen Latifah to Tyra Banks at Victoria's Secrets, like those were the women that I was like the closest that resembled me, because there were no Latinas. Like I know Adriana Lima.
Oh, that's who I was thinking.
But she's Brazilian. But then also within the BIPOC community, she's very like Eurocentric looking. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the same. Like I didn't feel that connection of like melanin rich skin.
Right.
So for me growing up, it was a struggle. Like I just remember trying on makeup like in my 13, 14s, because I've always loved makeup, and it being just like chalky and ashy. And I was like, why do I look so ugly? Like it really made me feel ugly, which is so sad to think about. So then as an adult, I didn't really put too much emphasis on where these brands were coming from, because again, I feel like the collective consciousness has just opened, and then 2020 hit and we were like, wait, we're powerful, we're amazing, we're creative, we can have our own brands, we can do our own things, right? So then once 2020 hit and all these brands started popping up, I was like, like brands that actually care about me and reflect my cultural identity and cultural heritage and melanin rich skin and are formulated with me in mind.
Yeah. Did you know of any brands beforehand?
No. It's like sad tear.
But were they there? Or had they?
I don't even think we were thinking about it. Like I just don't even think that was a thought. And then with SBJ, once I launched that, I was like, wow, how beautiful is it that my community and people of color can now have a brand that's rooted in my heritage and culture. That's not cookie cutter to what America wants Latinos to be, that is here to help them through their transformative self-care journey. You know what I mean? And now it's still like mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing to see that we have beauty brands that are here to power our beauty routines that are created with us in mind. Because Dyson, we like need a long pause. Like it's
gonna be a long pause.
That like beep. No, literally.
That okay. I don't know if anyone saw that TikTok. I'm sure you did. It was viral. Dyson came out with a flat iron, and
it's a flat iron?
Is it a flat iron? Yeah.
Well, I'm just questioning because is it a flat iron?
It's a something.
It's a something.
And they had a black girl with kinky hair. Now, this is a paid model on a paid shoot. Set design looks amazing.
With a product that has been conceptualized from start to finish.
There are producers. Like
multi-million-dollar company.
Multi-million.
Big budget.
Dyson.
Big budget. Like we got 2 lights. Like their room looks insane. They got like big budget.
And they're in like a full studio. They have the model facing a little bit away from the camera. The flat iron goes through her hair. And the way that I watched it multiple times, I hadn't even read the comments yet. Because for me, I'm like, oh, Dyson. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's about to hit. It's about to be like what we're looking for.
And my girl just pulled the same piece of hair. The flat iron went through, no change. Okay, second pass, no change. Third pass, but it was actually
just
the first
looping.
Pass.
Just over looping. And over and over.
And then I was like, wait, is this a joke? Like, what's happening here? Then I went to the comments and people were just like, this is insane. Insane. So I was like, why would this major brand come out with a product, have a model that has kinky hair, they pass it through and it does absolutely nothing? What is the reason for that? Well, then you and I were talking and I was like, they planned it. It was a marketing.
I hope they didn't, because that's so evil.
But then it's like,
why create a product that doesn't work?
Why create a product that doesn't help? Was the iron on?
Well, this is the thing. So I was watching like the educational videos for that specific hair tool, and it's supposed to use no heat. Like it's like some type of technology that doesn't use like a heat source that's normal in curling irons. So then I'm thinking,
like a ceramic type thing?
Girl, I don't even know. But then I'm thinking, who was leading this project? Was it a person of color? Because, and more specifically, was it a woman with this type of hair that understands the amount of heat that you need to be able to silk press hair
and following it with a comb?
Like who was leading this project? Was it the appropriate person? That's the question I want to know. Was it the appropriate person? Secondly, who approved that marketing material? Because you and I have a very small business. Yeah. Small. Yeah. And we're approving posts. Yes, this works. No, this doesn't work. Edit this out. No, that caption doesn't work. We are approving. We wouldn't use this word. So many things, right? So who approved that marketing material, thinking that was going to be a banger?
And this is a whole social media campaign that's happening. So that's why I'm like, I don't believe that. I feel like, because of social media, people want things to go viral. There was the Euphoria thing that happened, which
so sad.
That was really sad.
That was really sad to see a BIPOC brand not understand the power that they have and not understand that with great responsibility, or with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah. Euphoria facing big backlash over its recent shade range expansion, with some comparing the darkest shade to black face paint.
This is truly a crime.
Texas-based beauty influencer Gloria was one of the first to call it out, sharing this video with her 1.5 million followers on TikTok.
Not only in 2024 is this so disgusting and disrespectful, but this needs to be pulled off the shelves.
For them to have a huge gap in their
foundation
first
shade.
Darkest shade of the foundation to jump to
black,
it was like a black shade, no one ever could wear it. And then just to do a whole marketing campaign around having that shade, but it was really just to go viral. Now it did
it do what it needed to do, which was viral?
Yes. It went viral. It caused people to go and buy their original shades plus that shade and test them out. It's crazy. So that's why I'm like, was that
similar to Dyson? Like they were like YSL, they were like, oh, this doesn't work, let me go buy it and see if it really don't work. Yeah. And it's like, guys, we have so much power in our money. We are contributing so much money to the beauty industry. Let's support brands that are actually made with you in mind. Brands that actually care about you. Brands that have lived your experiences. How can a Eurocentric brand create a product for 4C hair when someone in their board probably doesn't even have that? Right. Tell me the pain point. Tell me how hard it is for you to do your hair in the morning, please.
Exactly.
Or Euphoria, which I feel like she should have really given it her all in creating a foundation that works for the deepest complexion versus trying to go viral. Yeah. Because again, then we have these VCs or funding companies and being like, this is exactly why we don't fund BIPOC brands, because they be doing some crazy things that don't make no sense. Right. And it's like, girl, you have to also give the projects that you're working on your best effort with your community in mind. Yes. The internet will be there. The internet will be there.
Yeah. But why not do something that's on the positive, instead of going viral for something that's negative, that negatively happened to your brand? Yeah, cool, you went viral, but now your brand is it's tainted. It's tainted.
And then feelings are hurt. I can't imagine having a baby or a daughter, just someone of that complexion and them feeling like I don't belong, or this wasn't even created for me, or I'm not even this dark. So many negative things come from that. That's an emotional pain point for people. We have to do better also when we're creating products. You can't just be throwing something to the wall hoping it sticks because you want virality.
Exactly. Because it will, you may go viral, people may buy here and there. And hopefully this goes back to our community has the most buying power. So don't support brands that do stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like a two-way street. Yeah. It's brands have to have the intention of creating products that truly work for us. And then as a community, we have to have the knowledge and desire to want to support things that are actually created for us, by us, that work truly for what we're looking for. Because even like the YSL blushes, it's like, don't go buy that white lilac blush just to see if it works on you. Like you're giving,
like, you know, it's not gonna work.
You know it's not gonna work. You're giving YSL your money when that, how much were the blushes? 20, 30?
No.
More?
YSL?
More?
Yeah, there's like $40, $50 probably.
Okay, you could have gave those $40 to $50 to a BIPOC
to Juvia's Place that has like the perfect shade, to Danessa Myricks that
incredible,
has everything that you could ever need with her amazing blushes. Like you don't need to, you know, even Rare Beauty, like she has amazing liquid blushes. Like
you don't need to be giving YSL your $40, $50 that you spent
that you're going to throw it in the trash.
That you're going to throw in the trash just to say like, oh, it didn't work for me, or I got some YSL, or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? So it's like two-way street. Brands need to do better. BIPOC and non-BIPOC brands need to do better in creating products that actually work for us, and the intentionality behind it. And then us as consumers, we need to stop being the bait and falling for the baity traps.
Yeah. And I will repeat what I said like in our first episode. If you have a brand and you're trying to target to every person of color, whether that's their hair, their skin tone, then before you launch your product or your brand, make sure that you have really tested it on
real people,
real hair textures, skin tones, instead of just launching and then on a hope and a prayer. Like, do the research and really like take the time and be considerate and intentional about what you're putting out there.
Yep. And I will repeat what I said in our first episode. It's a marketing ploy sometimes.
Yeah.
Brown and black faces are now used as a marketing ploy. It's very sad, but we need to open our eyes.
Yeah.
We need to wake up to the truth that's being literally, like, they're telling us this is not for you.
Yeah.
And we continue to fall in the same trap.
Yeah.
Right?
We know you're going to buy it though.
We know
it's not for you.
That's crazy.
So we have to realize that certain things are just not for us.
And that's okay, because guess what? We can pave the way and create brands that are for us and support brands that are for us.
Yeah.
And with seeing, you know, the beauty space change throughout the years, I feel like we will reference 2020 so much in this podcast, because this morning when I was getting ready and thinking about, you know, today's episode and how 2020 still keeps popping back up in my mind because of the shift, the cultural shift that we truly saw, right? So prior to 2020, I would say that the beauty market was super Eurocentric. I don't remember when Fenty came out. It didn't come out. It came out probably 2017, 2018? Like 17, 18.
Yeah. So that was, and if our community remembers, that was a huge thing.
It was a huge moment for us. Not only because of Rihanna, but
it's a black-owned brand. And then also, obviously, there were tons of shades that, you know, anyone could get matched to. So beforehand, and then us working as makeup artists beforehand, you know, we'd have to get our pro palettes from, you know, pro stores, obviously MAC, Makeup Forever, but it was very, but it was very limited as far as like what any person of color could buy.
Right. As a consumer.
But then when 2020 happened, now it was just like, support, you know, BIPOC brands, support Black-owned brands, support Latinx brands. It was just an influx
of brands, which was really beautiful to see, because I think it allowed our community to see what they're capable of doing.
Yeah.
You know, for myself, I've been a makeup artist for over a decade, but every time someone would ask me like, oh, do you think you'll ever have your own brand? I would be like, absolutely not. And not because I didn't want it, but because I didn't even know how to even start something like that. Like, what does that look like?
Because that's also in within a BIPOC community, learning how to actually start a business. That's not
discussed.
It's not discussed. It's not talked. You know, I live in West Adams, which is a, you know, predominantly Black historic neighborhood, and the majority of businesses that are now Leimert Park, there's a lot of Black-owned businesses there, but the majority in West Adams as a whole is not. It's people I mean, this is what we're going to talk about, actually. It's people coming in knowing that they're gentrifying, but they know that BIPOC people have the most spending power.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm going to come into the community, not only, first of all, to gentrify, which is pushing out the community, but also the community that's there. Now you can come and pay tons of money, because I know you are going to pay tons of money.
Yeah. And, you know, with the whole gentrification and businesses popping up, I think that I got really lucky to see my mom, my grandfather, and my uncle dabble in entrepreneurship. So I felt like that's where my entrepreneurial spirit comes in. But then I think about the families or kids or first generation immigrants or just immigrants that come to America who didn't see that, you know, because I feel like when a lot of the families immigrate to the States, they're working class, right? And it goes back to, do we really know how powerful our buying dollar is? Because what we're seeing is, due to gentrification, they know how powerful our buying dollar is.
Right.
And that's why they're coming into these neighborhoods to open up businesses, because they know we have the money, because we work so hard, we have the money to spend.
Yeah.
Right? But then what does that look like for our community on the flip side? Like, why are we not taking that same purchasing power and spending it on BIPOC brands?
Right. That's definitely my question. It actually, you know, I think having this podcast, while you and I talk about these things, but it's really shining a light just even on me personally, because like, why am I not thinking about that first? Like, let me spend my money on BIPOC brands and not like elsewhere.
Yeah,
you know, why am I not giving back to the BIPOC community?
Yeah.
You know, that need it. Now we have the most spending power, so why don't I just spend money on
in these businesses?
Yeah, in these businesses.
You know what's crazy about that though? I feel like so much shame comes into, like, I don't even know how to put this into words, but I feel like it's okay for anyone who's listening who doesn't have that thought top of mind, because you know what I mean? Because it's like, we have been taught, and we haven't had the resources nor the companies in the past for us to be able to funnel our money there first. So it's like, it's understandable that, you know, right now, maybe this is a conversation that's going to open a lot of doors for a lot of people, and just like plant a fresh little seed that you can pick where you spend your money.
Yeah.
And I never thought about it like that. Like, right now, when you just said, like, I don't know why it's not top of mind, it's like, wait, I don't know why I didn't understand that I can pick where I can take my money to.
Yeah, I think it takes, you know, I don't know if you just said this, but it's a conditioning that we've all just had.
Yeah.
And not only is it a conditioning, there weren't BIPOC brands readily available like they are now.
Yeah.
You know, previously it's, and still now, current day, it's everything but BIPOC brands. You really have to have an actual thought, like, you know what, I'm actually going to spend these dollars within a BIPOC brand. Like, instead of like, you know, whatever it is that you're purchasing, clothes, household stuff, makeup, you know, let me actually first think, is there a BIPOC brand?
Like the intentionality.
Yeah, be intentional about it.
Like breaking the muscle memory. I think that's what the shift that we want to see happen is, like, breaking that muscle memory of, like, you know, it's easy to shop on Amazon, for example, Temu or whatever. Anyway.
It's just a Temu girl. No. We love Temu.
At me like
we
that.
love Temu. I love Amazon. Just love Temu. Hey, but we have to condition ourselves.
Yeah, no. It's the conditioning of understanding, like, how can we switch that muscle memory to where it's like, okay, yes, it's easy to shop on these sites, but what's gonna benefit my community the most?
Yeah,
like,
or even
what's
on
gonna
those
benefit
big sites. Are there BIPOC brands on there?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. Are there BIPOC brands on Amazon? Of course, obviously.
Wait,
yes,
that's crazy.
Are there BIPOC brands on Temu? Yes.
Renee, it's like a light bulb just went off on my head. Yeah. You're right. Like I can still, like there's still ways to, because you know, one of the biggest things, like even when people go on a diet and they're like, I'm cutting everything out. And it's like, girl, you gonna be back to eating those cheese fries like in a couple of days, because going cold turkey is so hard, right?
So hard.
So I think like for On Hue and this podcast, and like one of the things that we want to do is offer resources and like actually actionable steps that you can take to be able to make these shifts in your life if you choose to be on board, which by the way, I know if you listen to this podcast, you on board because you understand the greater mission at hand.
Yes.
So that's a great one. It's like you don't have to necessarily cut out all of the things that you're doing right now, but how can you be more intentional on shopping? Like how can you be more intentional on going on Amazon? And maybe if you're buying a blush, before you purchase, let's look up some BIPOC blush companies that might be on there.
They will come up. I'm sure they're on there. And that's actually helping our BIPOC community because they have, you know, a contract, I guess, with Amazon, however that happens when someone can set up a store. And so while they're probably having to give a percentage to Amazon, they are also making money.
Yeah.
Like it's not like we're just buying something and they're not, that BIPOC brand is not making money. No, they are making money.
Yeah.
So I think even just thinking that's just a simple way to start is, you know what, I buy everything from Amazon. I buy everything from Temu. Let me just look for a BIPOC brand first before I get something else. You know?
And I think with that, one of the things that I've noticed since the boom of the internet, like it's really crazy when we think about like the boom of the internet, because I feel like our parents had like a different boom, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then for us, it was like the internet is truly something that we've grown up with. And now our kids, like it's something they don't even understand a world without the internet, right? But for us as makeup artists and as beauty experts in this space, I feel like we had to pivot and see so many things happen when the internet really took off, specifically Instagram, right? Instagram has really paved a way for content creators, beauty influencers, and all artists alike. And I feel like one of the things that I noticed as we were prepping for this is the percentage of people who are likely to buy a product based on influence versus actually either A, believing in the brand, B, caring what the product is, or whatever else follows after that is super high. It's 80%.
Wow.
80%.
So say that to me again. 80% of
people will buy something just because an influencer said that they should.
Said it. So yeah, I mean, I believe that. I remember this was a few years ago and I was doing a talk for, I can't remember this panel I was doing a talk for, and Kelly Adderton was there. She was the moderator. And we were talking about that same thing, how you see someone using something on Instagram or TikTok and you just, it works for them.
And then you're going to work for me. Yeah.
You just buy it. Yeah. But where are those, like, are those dollars going in the right direction? Or just buying just because? But we do buy. We just buy because we see something that's popular. Yeah, it's tricky because if there's an influencer, a BIPOC influencer, and then they use something that's not BIPOC.
But I think that, and this is like, I love this conversation because I think that it has to go both ways. Like as a community, we have to also hold ourselves accountable to the contracts that we're taking, to the products that we're promoting, and why it is that we're doing these things. Like I understand everyone's trying to get their bag. Right. Like everyone's trying to get their bag, rightfully so. Girl, get your bag. But where do your ethics start and stop when it comes to promoting brands, right? Because like back in 2020, I'm gonna tell you a little tea. Back in 2020, I was contacted by a huge company, Glossier, to do some social media influencing for them, right? Yep. I felt like they were like, this is the perfect time to tokenize brown and black faces to make our stocks go up, honey. So when they reached out to me, they initially wanted me to make a video. And I'm like, this is real tea. They wanted me to make a video for their top selling product, Boy Brow. And they wanted to pay me $500. $500. Okay.
From a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah. They wanted to give me $500
for your face,
for my face,
brows,
for my usage,
because it was trending.
It was trending to be BIPOC, and they wanted to give me $500. And that time for me and my family was hard. As a makeup artist, I was out of work. I was sitting on my couch, literally crying, thinking about like, what am I gonna do? And why did I pick a career field that's so hard?
That's so hard. Why did I do this?
But you know, one of the things that my husband has said that's so refreshing is God gives you gifts and you can't see them as a burden.
True.
And when I internalized that, I was like, I have a gift of being a makeup artist. I have a gift of creativity. I have a gift of all these things, right? So that was super helpful during those times. But $500 during a time where my family was struggling,
that's not helpful.
But in my mind, I was like so thirsty to take it.
Right.
I was like, oh, like this is perfect. Like what an opportunity. Glossier, like $500. Oh my goodness.
Like Glossier is reaching out.
They're reaching out to me, you know? And then I had to really sit down with myself. I had to really sit down with myself and think about the political climate that we were on, what our people have been fighting for years, which is equity, inclusion, and equality. And those $500 during such a crazy time were not going to give me any of that. It was going to give me a quick little payout so that I could maybe buy some groceries.
And you know what else it would have given you? You would have been promoting that, but you've already been paid. They're getting paid nonstop.
As I sleep, they're getting paid. As I'm worried about where my next meal, where my next job is coming from, they're getting paid. So when I really thought about that, and I was talking to my husband, I was like, what do you think I should do? And he's like, well, you know, like it's a great opportunity, but you have to really do what you feel in your heart. And in my heart, I was like, I can't. I can't. And it was a really hard decision because yes, I want the partnership. Yes, I want the recognition from this brand. Yes, I want all the bells and whistles that come with it. But at the end of the day, what I stand for and what I believe in was greater than a $500 payout.
Yeah. And the interesting thing with that is, so you didn't take it. And I'll just ask, did they counter?
No.
So that's interesting. Because so they don't care anyways.
Yeah, that was the thing.
They'll just move on to the next person. Unfortunately, within our BIPOC community, there will be the next person and they will take it.
Yeah.
You know, not realizing that they're worth more than that, you know?
Yeah.
And these big brands know that. They're like, somebody's going to take it.
Someone's going to buy it.
This happens in our makeup, like it just within
industry.
Our jobs all the time, you know? They want to hire a BIPOC person to help, you know, with whether it's
they want to hire or as an assistant on set
because they know like we have the expertise. We, you know, even as far as makeup and hair, like we just do so much more because we have to do so much more.
that deep breath. But we do so much more because we have to.
And then if we don't take the job, there's somebody else because they also have that mindset. Well, I have to do it. I need it. And so there will be somebody who takes it. And these big brands know that.
Right.
They know that.
And that's kind of really disheartening because I feel like as a BIPOC community, we're more likely to support people and brands that are not BIPOC. Like it goes back to our saying, it be your own people, which actually I'm so over that saying because I want it to change. I want it to be like, it is my own people. Like, you know, something positive where it's like, not it be your own people. Like this is my people. You know what I mean? So I feel like within like taking these jobs and like supporting other brands, and then there's small brands that open up shop. Like I have a small brand, SPJ Essentials, and the amount of effort, which I'm an entrepreneur. I understand that businesses take so much effort. You're literally on the clock 24/7, right? But the amount of effort that a BIPOC brand has to put in to get recognition from a Eurocentric market to start off in, also PR, sales, whatever it is,
branding,
funding is insane. And then for our community to not, and like I don't want to come off as like salty or anything, because I feel like the community that SBJ has built is truly one of a kind and so beautiful. But I'm saying it in the sense of like, as a whole, there's still so much unlearning that we have to do when we see a BIPOC queen on the come up.
Yeah.
Because the celebration that needs to be there of like, I see you, like I truly see you, I truly support you, needs to change.
Yeah. And I totally agree. So I started Color May Vary. It's the largest Black owned beauty guide. The largest Black owned beauty guide. And so I started it, you know, similar to house Black owned brands so that people can come and support and buy and be there for these brands that literally no one has ever heard of. So this happened during the pandemic. I wanted to do something to give back to my community, but within like my expertise in the beauty industry. And so I did all this research. It actually didn't start out as Color May Vary. It was the Black owned beauty guide.
Oh, that's cute too.
Yeah. And so it was so interesting, Jess. So I had that thought. And then I went online on Instagram and I did a post. Ben, my husband, made the design for it.
Best graphic designer ever.
Best Ben Louise, best graphic designer. He made, it was like called the Black owned beauty guide or something like that. And then I put tag your favorite Black owned beauty guide. This was in 2020 or 2021. This was July 2020. And it went viral. Like it was thousands. And I was like, so first of all, someone in the beauty industry.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, like all these brands came and I'm like, people are just tagging. And I was like, wait, what? Like,
you're like, wait, we exist?
Yeah, we exist. And then I got super excited and started like doing all this research, making like Ben made a Google sheet, put all the, you know, the info and stuff in there. So then we had it like a part of my website. But then it just kept coming. And then I'm doing research and I'm finding brands all across the whole world.
Wow.
And I'm like, you know, I remember in August, before I started Color May Vary, it was like 400 and something brands.
Wow.
Like just within a month. And then it just kept growing. And Ben and I were like, we should actually like do this for real. We got all of our resources together. And then we made it into this huge guide. Everything is categorized: makeup, hair, skin, nails, clean beauty, men's grooming, fragrance, candles.
Oh.
Yeah, but it was like
the whole thing.
The amount of like brands was just like crazy to me. I just couldn't believe it. And also I was like, wow, like I haven't even been supporting these beauty brands.
Yeah.
So, and it's two things.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things. The funding, the marketing.
Yeah.
Lots of these brands are not even
they don't have it. Yeah, they don't have the resources to be able to step up to the plate as they deserve, and to have the inclusion in this Eurocentric beauty market as they should. Yeah. But you know what's really interesting is during 2020, I mean, first and foremost, like, wow to 1,000 brands being housed under one roof that people can go and look up and see who they're supporting. Yeah. And then the second thing is during 2020, we had the 15% pledge come up.
Yeah.
And there's so many like thoughts that come to my mind with this pledge, because it's amazing that there was affirmative action taken so that major retailers are also holding themselves accountable to have shelf space for BIPOC owned brands. But then I'm like, why just 15%?
Yeah.
when we are generating trillions.
When we're generating
why
trillions,
do we just have
15%? Yeah, even if you go into all the major beauty retailers, you know, we all know who they are. It's like if you just go in and look for a BIPOC brand, BIPOC products or whatever, there's just a small section in these humongous stores, but we're the ones who
are contributing the most.
And it was interesting, we asked our intern, you know, when you go into a Sephora or Ulta, whichever, what are you going in there to buy? What are you looking for? And she was like, I'm looking for a high-end brand. So that's these mega, like...
Well, also conditioning.
Yeah, so there's the conditioning.
Because high-end, what does that even mean?
Exactly. So, and then we were asking her, oh, you know, do you ever think to go and shop BIPOC brands? Now she does, I think, since
because we had the conversation.
Yeah. But previously, she's not thinking that. And then there's another, like, completely BIPOC store, 13 Loon, that she'd never even heard of.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, never
Which,
heard of
think
it.
about this. Okay, so 13 Loon has VC funding. Mm-hmm. They have funding. Yeah. Meaning they pull in lots and lots of cash. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Now, if she hasn't heard of 13 Loon, who has lots and lots of cash, imagine her hearing about SBJ. Yeah. In what world?
Right.
We're so far in the back burner. So far in the back burner. Yeah. And it's like we're swimming upstream every single year, trying to compete with the brands that are celebrity endorsed, with the brands that are celebrity funded, with the brands that are already existing, that are, you know, OGs like a Maybelline or like a L'Oreal. And it's like, imagine the funding that a small brand needs to be able to compete in the space. Now, not just imagining the funding, but also it's really sad that we are the least amongst the least funded in this space.
Well, with Color May Vary, the sad thing is, so I update it all the time. And I remember the first time going to update it. It was after maybe a year, you know, because brands were just constantly coming in, you know, to be added onto the guide. And then maybe after a year, I went to update, you know, just to see, let me see how these brands are doing and this and that. So many brands had folded. So many brands. And now this is like a continuous thing. So every time I go back and go through an update and click to see which brand, and some of these brands were like doing well during the trending time of the pandemic. But then once that hype was gone, now the brands are gone, you know? They didn't have enough funding and they've had to fold. Yeah. Yeah, it's actually really sad to see that, because you're just like, wow, they were doing so well. Cosmo wrote about them. You know, there was that whole thing of like
the whole thing,
the 30 BIPOC brands that
you should support now and forever.
Now and forever.
Yeah. Yes. Forever when.
Yeah. And now these brands have folded because of funding.
Yeah. And you know what also what that brings to mind is the endurance an entrepreneur has to have. When we went to the Tower 28 Summit, the speaker was talking about how entrepreneurship is not a marathon. It's a freaking like mud relay rally thing, like a whole thing, right? Yeah. So I think about entrepreneurship and the endurance that you have to have, and how entrepreneurs are true athletes. Our boys, we see them all the time playing basketball, and we're always like rooting them on, cheering them on, you know, the conditioning that they have to be able to go up and down the court, how much they have to practice, the support that they have to have. Yeah. From not only their direct, like parents, but like their community. And I think about entrepreneurship, and we need the same exact thing.
That's amazing.
The same exact thing.
Yeah. BIPOC brands, in order for BIPOC brands to thrive, their community needs the support. The community that spends the most money,
which is us,
needs our support.
Yeah. Like they need our support. Yeah.
That's really a great example of like our boys, in order for them to succeed. And this is with anyone.
In order for
a business, a person to succeed, they have to have the support from whether that's their family, their community, whoever.
Yeah.
You have to have support because that helps.
That's what fuels it. Because like even for us as, you know, as partners on this incredible mission is like, we still need support. Like we support each other on a day-to-day basis. But then given the example of Wednesday when we were freaking falling apart, it's like we go home and then we have a support system there too. You know what I mean? And it's like for these small beauty brands, like we spend trillions. We have the support that they need. We have the support that they need so that next time you're updating Color May Vary, instead of 50 brands being closed, maybe it's like the 5 that realize that they don't really like the beauty industry or that they, you know, this isn't their passion. But the remaining, they're like thriving because they have the support that they need to be able to succeed. You know?
I love that. I love that. And it's not hard, but it's we go back to what we were saying earlier. It's so our listeners realizing that the next time that they are going to purchase something, to first have the thought, is this something I can buy that's BIPOC owned? Can I give my dollars to the BIPOC community that is always underfunded, no funding, folding their businesses, and don't necessarily have a strong support system?
And to top that off, are they waking up and thinking, I am one of the most powerful people on this planet. I have the highest purchasing power. I work the hardest. I'm a trendsetter. Like I'm an innovator.
Do we realize we are running things?
All of these things. Like literally power to the people is the thing that comes to my mind, but honestly, power to the people.
And I'm just sitting here thinking like we're running things.
We see it, but do we see it?
If we really see it, we realize if you can just look online, who is spending the most? And it's the BIPOC community. So do we realize that if we are spending the most,
we have the most power.
We have the most power. So if we have the most power, let's spend it on our community.
So that we can level each other up. You know, there was this quote that I saw on Instagram, and we'll pull it up for you guys. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's like, you know, a celebrity launches a brand, everybody flocks to go buy the product.
Loves it.
Your cousin or best friend launches a brand, you don't share it with a single person. And again, it's that like little internal seed of jealousy of seeing your community come up. And it's like that was taught to us because naturally as, you know, people, we like are here to support one another. But because of our history and everything that we have been through, we have been taught to see each other as competition rather than community, right? So this conversation, I hope that it really serves our listeners to be able to first identify that seed within them of like, do I have this? Because we all have it, you know, like, do I have this? What does that feel like? Because it's a feeling. You either feel it in your stomach, you feel it in your chest, you feel it in your throat. Like, where is that feeling really living? And like, how can I transform it from a feeling of either envy, anger, sadness, whatever it is, to a feeling of empowerment and love and hope for the person that I'm trying to uplift? You know, like, how can I transform that feeling?
Even if it's just, it doesn't even have to be like, oh, I need to go spend my dollars. No, it's even just like supporting.
Oh my God, I love that you said that.
You don't have to spend, you know, people don't have money. Like, you know, you don't have to spend, but you can actually support by following them on Instagram,
sharing their
accounts,
leaving a comment,
just normally talking about them,
sending them words of encouragement. And I will tell you,
out just BIPOC brands and saving it for later, you know.
Right. And I will tell you that like during the holidays, we at SBJ, we usually share like ways to support BIPOC owned brands without spending a dime, because I do believe that's also very important. Everything doesn't have to be transactional, right? So for us, it was all the points you just made. Like, sometimes supporting your community while we have the purchasing power, like, let's always remember that while we have the purchasing power, it's also a matter of just being kind. Dude, share the brand. It takes 2 seconds to share it with 5 people in your family, 5 of your best friends, 5 whatever that you feel are going to benefit from it, because these brands are popping up in this space because they truly feel they're making a difference. So like, what is the benefit that they're offering the community, and who will that benefit within your circle? You know, there's some beautiful brands like Lip Love. You know, she makes clean beauty products. You have someone in your family who's allergic to synthetic fillers in lip gloss, share Lip Love with them. You have someone in your family who is looking for a variety of red lipstick shades that are pigmented, share Bossy Beauty with them.
Exactly. It takes work. It's going to take work, because you have to think like, okay, well, I'm not going to share like, you know, a CoverGirl, a L'Oreal, you know, or, you know, whichever other clean brand besides a BIPOC. You have to think first. You have to have that thought, well, I'm going to support this brand, or I'm going to support my community, and my sister needs a clean beauty products. Who within the BIPOC community, what brand do I know within the BIPOC? Or let me Google.
Well, and guess what? If you don't know, go to colormayvary.com. They have thousands of brands.
DM us and ask us.
Oh my gosh, yes. You guys DM us if you're ever looking for a brand within the BIPOC beauty market and you're not sure where to find it, DM us. Like, we're here to help you.
One of our friends, Sonia, she had recently asked us at one of our events if...
Oh my God, which by the way, our events are so amazing. Renee, our last one, the conversation, top tier. Like the fact
that was good
that we were able to have that conversation and all the goodies from all of our sponsors. It was so amazing. If you haven't looked, go on our Instagram, onhue.podcast, and we have a little reel recap, and you can just see like all the amazing moments.
All the fun we had. But no, Sonia had asked us, she's Asian and she has really thick, beautiful hair, that she has a hard time finding a product that works for her. And so she asked us, hey, can you guys recommend a BIPOC owned brand that can help with my
that creates like shampoos, conditioners, like a hair care brand.
And so I loved that her thought was to actually just not go to mainstream and, you know, whatever kind of brand is out there, but actually let me support a BIPOC brand. And can you guys give me, you know, some brands that you would recommend for my hair type?
If I'm honest though, I was actually kind of shook by her question, because I was like, oh, she's thinking about this. Not that I'm surprised that she's thinking about this, but it's just like really beautiful to see the collective consciousness growing. And like these little messages being downloaded of like, support your own people. You know what I mean?
And it's easy to not think and just go to, you know,
what's accessible.
But you have to put some thought in, you know, if you're trying to support and uplift the BIPOC community, and uplift the brands and keep them funded and keep them going, you have to have a little bit of a thought so that that becomes normal.
Right. And now you guys know about all of the resources that you can access to be able to plant that seed within yourself to support BIPOC-owned brands like Color May Vary. You can go on onhue.podcast on Instagram. We have tons of BIPOC beauty brands listed. We just did a post on Native American brands. So many beautiful ones. Like for me, that's why I started Color May Vary. Not only just to support the community, but just to actually find all these different brands. And so, we've honored Native American, Indigenous brands, Filipino brands. We did Hispanic Heritage Month. So you're able to go on our Instagram and just scroll. We have a little excerpt on what the brand is, who the founder is, some information about it. And it's a really beautiful resources for you guys too. Awesome. No, it really is. It's so like nice.
Learning about all these new brands, supporting them, stuff that you didn't know was out there. And you're like, I actually need that. You know?
And what I find really beautiful about small brands is that they create with a lot of intention, because again, because their resources are so limited, they are more thoughtfully made, and the products that they're creating are more thoughtfully curated. And then Renee and I are launching something new on our website. So you can go on onhuepodcast.com and take our pledge. So our pledge is here to encourage you to plant that seed of supporting BIPOC owned brands, to plant that seed of understanding how powerful you are. You are such a powerful individual, and your spending power matters, and you have the spending power to keep these brands going. So you can go on onhuepodcast.com, take the pledge, and your donation not only supports the On Hue podcast, it plants the seed for you to be able to support your community. And we have
some of the money that we get in will go towards a grant for an amazing BIPOC owned brand.
So we are so excited. Like, it still feels surreal to even say it.
Yeah.
Because 10% of our funds are going to be going back into our community, because we're here to not just talk about it.
I was literally I'm thinking in my head, we're not
here to be about it.
Yeah.
Like,
we want to support, and our community knows, like, this is what On Hue is about.
Yeah, like, we're truly passionate about this.
Yeah,
like, we're so passionate about this.
BIPOC brands, we're uplifting BIPOC brands, and now with this pledge, part of the donations will go towards a grant to help fund BIPOC brands.
Yeah, and you know, with On Hue, we're here to also uplift and shine a spotlight on BIPOC beauty professionals and share the stories that really matter to us. You know, so we hope that you guys really enjoyed this conversation. We hope that it left you with some food for thought. We gave you so many resources that you can easily access to be able to support your community. And we also want to thank you guys so much for supporting us on this journey. It feels like a long journey, but we just started, and it's been so fun. And one of the things that I feel super rewarded in is when we have our events. Thank you so much to everyone who shows up every single event to support On Hue, to support our mission of uplifting BIPOC voices. Thank you to everyone who leaves a kind comment on our Instagram, to everyone who tunes into our podcast via Spotify, via YouTube, and
also our amazing sponsors.
Yes.
You know, for our past 2 events, we've had some absolutely amazing sponsors that
truly dreamy.
Truly dreamy. And literally, that just means so much to us, that you guys as sponsors are believing in us and wanting to support us. And these are all BIPOC brands, which I love. But our next event is coming up. That's just a teaser. I'm not even going to say what it is.
Head over to our Instagram.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to see everything, but it's going to be...
This one's going to be...
So exciting.
I don't know if we're setting ourselves up to continue to keep going high, which is great. We should. As a BIPOC brand, we need to constantly elevate. And I think with every event we've had, we had the launch one. Awesome. We had the BIPOC Beauty and Politics one. Whoa. This one...
It's gonna be
and this one will be all about supporting BIPOC brands,
because again, we're not just here to talk about it, we're here to be about it.
And BIPOC beauty brands will be the forefront of the conversation at this next event.
And we know that if you're listening to the On Hue podcast, you're also here to be about it and not just talk about it. So don't forget to head over to onhuepodcast.com and take the pledge. Any donation, whether it's big or small, is helping keep On Hue floating to the top, and your donation also supports another BIPOC owned beauty brand through our grant that's coming soon.
So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys at our next event. Remember to stay true and stay on Hue.